So let's go ahead and get started. And we get started by looking at the current crypto market. Right now it's at 267 billion, is up 0.38% over the last 24 hours, so no major movement there. Bitcoin dominance has rose though. It was at 68.2, now it's at 68.5%. Well, Bitcoin had a little bit of a bump. Well, at least the last 5%. For the last 24 hours, it's down negative 2%. So if Bitcoin is down barely the last 24 hours, but the crypto market is up, where did those coins gain? What coins gained? Let's take a look. Best performers over the last 24 hours. Hypercash, almost 15% increase. Halo, 5.8%. REN, double digit, 12.9%. Basic attention token. Let's see, Quant, BitShares. None of the top coins, though. I think Cosmos. Yeah, Cosmos is the highest there with 1.4% in the top. Worst performers over the last 24 hours. Wan Chain, negative 7.2%. Lambda, Chain Link, almost negative 5%. 4.4. Ethereum Classic, 4.4. Right, pretty. Oh, well, I saw Stellar there, negative 2.8%. Hundi, negative 2.5%. It's been flat the last 7 days. Okay, let's take a look at some news. Yesterday we talked about Craig Wright, and there has been more news this morning. I guess it's been confirmed. Judge seals the deal on Craig Wright, orders $5 billion Bitcoin transfer. Now, this is going to be interesting. Very interesting. I don't know if Craig Wright actually has access to that wallet. No coin has ever been moved from it. And some have speculated that it is Satoshi's wallet, which is why Craig Wright's been running around claiming that he's Satoshi Nakamoto. But the wallet under question, supposedly or allegedly, was mined together with Craig Wright and, what was his name again? Dave Kleiman, that's right. That mined 1 million Bitcoin. 1 million, that's worth $10 billion today. So Craig Wright lost the case, which means half of that goes to the Kleiman estate. He gets to keep half. If he won the judgment, then he could run around and say that the courts named him as the owner of this wallet that might not even be Satoshi Nakamoto, and he has claim to all 1 million Bitcoin, but he wouldn't have to move any coins, which meant he could delay him proving or not that he's Satoshi, because he would never have to move the coins. But now that the judge has ruled that he has to transfer $5 billion worth of coins, it's going to force him to have to move coins, and it's going to force him to have to prove he actually has access to that wallet. This is high class drama here to see if he actually does. I'm gonna be watching this real closely. Let's see what this says. A Florida judge has now filed an official order declaring that self-professed Bitcoin inventor Craig Wright must hand half of his estimated $10 billion Bitcoin holdings to the estate of his late business partner, Dave Kleiman. Judge Bruce E. Reinhardt says he doubts Wright told the truth in court, may have forged documents, and will now have to surrender an estimated 500,000 BTC, worth more than $5 billion at time of publishing. During his testimony, Dr. Wright's demeanor did not impress me as someone who was telling the truth. When it was favorable to him, Dr. Wright appeared to have an excellent memory. and a scrupulous attention to detail. Otherwise, Dr. Wright was belligerent and evasive. He did not directly and clearly respond to questions. He quibbled about irrelevant technicalities. When confronted with evidence indicating that certain documents had been fabricated or altered, he became extremely defensive, tried to sidestep questioning, and ultimately made vague comments about his systems being hacked and others having access to his computers. None of these excuses were corroborated by other evidence. For purposes of this action, it is established that Dr. Wright and Dave Kleiman entered into a 50-50 partnership to develop Bitcoin intellectual property and to mine Bitcoin. Now, that is a statement. I don't know how I feel about that. To develop Bitcoin intellectual property. Okay. I'm gonna read that to say after the development of Bitcoin, to develop more intellectual property on the technology that Bitcoin's based on. Not that they actually developed Bitcoin as the intellectual property, because that's what Craig Wright wants. He wants to be shown and proven that he is the creator of Bitcoin. And now I know that's kind of like lawyer talk. I hope that made sense, that there's a big difference there. Semantics. Any Bitcoin-related intellectual property developed by Dr. Wright prior to David Kleiman's death was property of the partnership. All Bitcoin mined by Dr. Wright prior to David Kleiman's death, the partnership's Bitcoin, was property of the partnership when mined. The new ruling does not address or determine whether Wright is the anonymous creator of Bitcoin, who went by the code name Satoshi Nakamoto. In an interview with Modern Consensus that was conducted shortly after reports of the court order began to spread, Wright said he will comply with the order. However, in his testimony, he said he's not sure whether he can locate or access all of his BTC. Now, see, that's a funny statement right there. I would have assumed that in this entire thing that the wallet address of these Bitcoin would have been front and center, like evidence number one. Here's the million mined Bitcoin. We want access to it. How do you go through this and not have that? In his testimony, he said he's not sure whether he can locate or access all of his BTC. Really? How many of you that have crypto right now know exactly where your crypto is? Is any of you walking around saying, I'm not sure, I don't know if I can access my crypto? And you might have anywhere between $100 worth to a couple $100,000 worth. Some of you listening to me might have a couple $1 million worth of Bitcoin. You know where it is. You're telling me he's got $10 billion worth of Bitcoin and he's not sure if he can access it? Yeah, we call BS on that. Yeah, but this is something to follow. All right. Next article up is Tim Draper. You know, I'm going to save him for last because I'm going to use him as a quote today. All right, come on, system, bring this up. This caught my attention. Anonymous Bitcoin prediction goes viral on Reddit. Anonymous Bitcoin prediction? What is the prediction? A series of Bitcoin predictions from an anonymous analyst are catching fire on Reddit. See, when I hear something like that and anonymous, I'm thinking Satoshi Nakamoto. The forecast was posted on 4chan on January 21st of this year, mapping out BTC's price movements through November. A screenshot of the original post shot to the top of the Bitcoin subreddit on Tuesday, along with the graph showing the predicted parabolic movement. Okay. The bottom was December 15th, 2018. Just look at the charts. We are in the bull market. We are currently in the last 3 months of accumulation stage. After that, we will slowly rise and rise. Then we will boom. Screen cap this. April 2019, BTC 5,300. July, BTC 9,200. October, BTC 16,000. February 2020, 29,000. What? July 2020, 56,000. November 2020, 87,000. This will be a $1.5 trillion market cap. The dominance of BTC will only be 40 to 60%. The charts never lie. Okay. Before I go further, I got to take my own education into this. I'm looking at this. Remember, whenever I read the charts, because I agree when the charts don't lie, there are three things I need to see to be considered a bull run. This market cap needs to be over 300 billion. Bitcoin needs to be over $10,000. And Bitcoin dominance needs to be below 50%. I've been saying that from the beginning. This year, we've met two of these things. Bitcoin market cap did go over 300 billion, or crypto market cap over 300 billion. Bitcoin price was over 10,000, but the dominance never got below 60%. So I said, at best, it was a Bitcoin flash bull run, not a crypto run. When you look at the history, when Bitcoin was over that, almost at $20,000, the dominance was at the 50% below mark. Now, I got to go back to his prediction here. This is really catching my attention here. This was correct. It did hit 5,300. July, it did hit 9,200. But we haven't been in October yet. The highest we got was what, almost 14,000 this year? 13,000 something? So October, they're saying it's going to jump to 16K. February, 29K. Now he predicts that the market cap's going to jump to 1.5 trillion. That is this. So this number here, currently at 267 billion, he says it's going to be 1.5 trillion. And with Bitcoin having 40% market cap, that means Bitcoin is going to be over 1.5. What about 600 billion? Almost 700 billion, 600 billion? Wow, it's never been that high. Bitcoin market cap got up to 400 billion before. A little more than 400 billion. But close to 600, 700 billion is Bitcoin's market cap? Yeah, so yeah, you add another 200 billion to it and it was at 20,000, then yeah, it can go to 29,000. I'm liking this prediction. Let me rephrase that. I don't like this prediction. I don't want it to hit 29,000 in February. That's too soon. We need more time. But I see this happening in July. Why 56,000 in July? Because the Bitcoin is going to halve in May 2020. So now you can figure May, June, July, 2 months, 3 months after that, it doubles. 56,000. Okay, let me read this. On target, the first projection that Bitcoin will hit at least 5,300 in April, and the second stating that BTC will cross 9,200 by July were both realized. But to meet the next target at 16,000 by October of this year, Bitcoin would have to climb 57% from today's current price of about 10,150. We're only talking 40 days from now, if that. As a disclaimer, I'm not a licensed financial advisor to be giving financial advice, but if I'm looking at that and I've got some money, you might be in a better position buying Bitcoin and holding it for 40 days instead of trying to put it in a program that's going to get you whatever percentage a month that they're advertising. If this thing's able to jump 57% in the next 40 days, what just happened to your value of the coins you have? And you keep holding. Let me continue. The anonymous author also states BTC's dominance of the overall crypto market will sink to between 40 and 46%, far lower than today's 68.8%. The post triggered a lively debate on Bitcoin's past, present, and future price action. Here are some highlights. If we reach 16K come October, this prediction will trigger full-on FOMO and become self-fulfilling. I agree. That's why you might want to start taking some action now. Yeah, I'm a traditional bull for BTC, but seeing weakness that indicates sideways or downward movement for a foreseeable future, I cashed out well in the black, but hoping we're wrong for the holders. Okay. I still believe before it can go to a 16K, this thing needs to drop. It's got to drop below 7,500 or so. So if in September I see this thing drop below that $8,000 mark, then I'm going to start to get excited by this guy's prediction that 30 days later in October, it can shoot all the way up to 16K and then hover there and continue to rise throughout the rest of the year, going into next year. And if that's the case, we will never see it come below $10,000 again. The other guy says, yeah, I'm a traditional bull, but for, wait. I'm long-term bull too. The weakness concerns me, but the last sideways trend was during a 10-month bear run. This time, it's during an 8.5-month bull run. We'll see if that makes any difference. If it resembles the last one, it could stay sideways for another month or two. That's pretty on point. This guy says, this isn't going to happen. If the world adopts Bitcoin as its currency, sure, but that hasn't happened, and these last two massive pumps have been whales pumping and dumping. That's true. Best to get out before the next big dump, partly true, if you're a short-term trader. It would be different if the price actually went up, but the green candles turn into red candles the same day, and I won't let you tell me that's anything other than market manipulation. The whales aren't trying to adopt Bitcoin. They don't want to use Bitcoin as currency. They want to trade it. They want you to buy it high so they can rip you off. They saw an opportunity and they took it. If you buy for Bitcoin, hold it and use it. If you want to trade, wait for the next crash because this phase is over. I could be wrong, but what I do know is that there won't be some huge breakout. This is a psychological game, and the two big pumps have just been whales trying to move a buck. If it weren't, it wouldn't pump and dump. It would just pump without any dump. That whole $100 million or better yet, $100,000 bull crap is unfortunate standard Ponzi hopium, no better than a pyramid scheme, and most of us learn the hard way. Otherwise, they wouldn't be doing it. Don't be a fool. Long-term bullish, maybe, but these rallies have been artificial. Don't believe me, though, just thought I'd warn you. He's about 50% correct. But he is looking at this from a day trader's point of view on how to make a quick buck. He doesn't sound like he's a long-term believer of Bitcoin because Bitcoin is not going to be used for day-to-day purchases. People want to use it as store of value, as digital gold. But that's an interesting point that he made. I don't agree with it, most of it. This guy says, I don't see a massive dump below 10K. There is too much long-term money in Bitcoin for it to collapse just off price action. The market is pretty comfortable with the 10K valuation. Anything under that is seen as a bargain, and people start buying in bulk. Each 1K you go down in price, more and more people will load up the boat. I'm skeptical of any price above 20K, but I think 9 to 10K is a new floor. Yeah, he's partly right. I believe there's still going to be we're going to go below 8,000 eventually, at least one more time. I want to save this screenshot right here. Because if certain things happen in if certain things happen in September, then I'm going to be looking at this right here. October price prediction of 16,000. It has not been that high since 2017. So whether you start loading up on Bitcoin now or you wait till it hits 7,000, 8,000, really is irrelevant. You got to get a profit. It's going to hit this eventually. It's just a matter of when. But this guy's predicting October. So far, he's been right on these two months. But then to go from there to there in a matter of 4 months, I don't know. I believe this at least because of the halving. This, I don't know about that either. But this is what we're looking at. So I can't tell you what to do. All I can say is there is opportunity here in knowing this information. And you decide what you're going to do with it. All right, last article up by Tim Draper. Billionaire Tim Draper says Bitcoin opportunity is 10 to 100 times bigger than the internet. Wow. See, this is one of the revelations I had back in 2017 that set me on the current course I'm on right now. That was my number 2 thing I realized. The blockchain technology is going to disrupt every single industry on the planet today. It's the greatest invention since the internet. It's going to have an impact as big as when humans were introduced to agriculture. And we all know how the internet has changed society. But this opportunity is 10 to 100 times bigger than the internet. Who are you going to listen to? Broke cousin Pookie or Bubba on the corner? Or a billionaire like Tim Draper? As Bitcoin continues to trade sideways just over $10,000, meeting resistance at 10,500, billionaire venture capitalist Tim Draper remains focused on the long-term trajectory of the actual technology and why he believes that Bitcoin and blockchain will transform entire industries, unleashing a far greater impact on society than the internet itself. Draper, an early investor in Skype, Tesla, Hotmail, Twitter, Coinbase, and DocuSign, reads key characteristics in today's seismic shift that reminds him of the investment opportunities during the 1990s. When the internet came around, we were very excited and we funded a lot of companies, and the internet transformed communications and information and gaming and entertainment media. But now we have new technologies, and they start with Bitcoin, this magic technology that has somehow allowed us to have a trusted global currency that isn't tied to any political force. And it's open, transparent, global, frictionless, and the technology that built Bitcoin also has other applications. For instance, the blockchain allows for a perfect ledger. It keeps a perfect track of money, or it can also keep a perfect track of data. A smart contract is a contract that's built into software, so you don't have to define whether different words mean different things. We all know where the money goes. So smart contracts can end up being really a very important part of commerce and business going forward. And then on the other side, we have all this data, and data is getting more and more important as we can do more and more things with it. And as data evolves and people do this deep learning on the data, they can create artificial intelligence. What? They can create an intelligence by making judgment calls based on the data and the deep learning they've done. If you start combining those technologies, they're bigger than the internet ever was. You have the ability to transform insurance, banking, and commerce and finance. It's things like insurance and real estate, healthcare, government. All of these things have the potential to be completely transformed. And this is the time. And I feel like those industries are 10 to 100 times bigger than the industries that were affected by the internet. So we're in a big opportunity. I hope that can stick to you. In fact, that might be something you want to memorize. His whole statement there is why I completely changed my course, my professional course, why I am so much into crypto, that we are on the vanguard of a societal revolution in the way we communicate, the way business is done. This has never been done on this scale. And it's going to happen rapidly. I think I poured my heart out a couple of days ago on a crypto talk where I shared why I am in crypto doing what I'm doing. Legacy, family, opportunity. This not happening for our parents, and depending on how old your children are right now, their ability to be a part of it. And what you do now, and I don't say this lightly, so take this to heart. What you do now will determine the financial future of your family for the next 100 years. You might think, oh, I'm doing good. I've got a nice 9-to-5 job. I'm making money. My bills are being paid. I'm able to put my kids through school. No, I'm not rich. I might still be a paycheck to paycheck, but I'm still doing good. If you decide that that's the only, what's the word I want to use? Path you want to pursue, because you've got a college degree and a nice, good paying job. You might even have savings that can last you for a year. What do you do with the economy tanks and you lose that job? And there are no other jobs that's going to replace it. If you've got money in the stock market and your 401k and your savings and you think you're going to have a pension for the rest of your life, what are you going to do when the next biggest recession hits and all of that gets wiped out? What you do and where you put your focus on over the next 24 months is going to determine your family's history for the next 100 years. And again, I don't say that lightly, and I'm not trying to scare you. What I am giving you is hope. Like Jim Rohn says, the goal is to build a financial wall around your family so high that nothing, no outside source can penetrate it, because there are things that happen that are outside of our control. You can do everything right and still get screwed to no fault of your own. All we can do is prepare for the storm. And there might be those that argue, shut up, Brandon, there is no storm. There's not going to be a recession. Everything is great. Stop trying to scare people. Hey, I like to say I'd rather be prepared for it and it not happen than to not be prepared for it and it does. I hope you guys learned something new. As always, that is the point. I should be back tomorrow morning for early morning crypto talk. I started early today because I have a ear doctor appointment later on. So this is being recorded and it will be uploaded to YouTube. I'm starting to record these now, not just on Facebook, so I can also upload it to YouTube so people can find them later on. Have a great day, everybody. God bless. Bitcoin Brandon out. Bye-bye.